Congratulations on the film thriller, The Deal. What made you produce this film, and what was it about the story that really interested you?
Well, the story actually came from the lead actor of the movie, Somali, and she came to my office because she's friends with my wife, and she had pitched it to my wife, and they came to my office and pitched me the story, and I thought, I've never ever seen a mother-daughter sci-fi post-apocalyptic story before, and I thought it was such an interesting way to have an intimate, personal story in a larger science fiction film. So I got very excited about making it together with her.
And how was it collaborating with Somali and your wife?
Well, my wife and I, this was the second film she and I produced together. So we've gotten used to working together. And Somali just was wonderful. The initial idea of the movie came to her when her mother passed away. And she was thinking about all the sacrifices that her mother had made as a Filipino woman to make sure her daughter had a successful life. And the story came from there. So it was a deeply personal story, even though it's a fictional, sci-fi movie. It was very personal to Somali. So it was just this wonderful experience of getting to explore this thing that she needed to express as an artist, and to watch her kind of channel her own mother in the film was really thrilling.
It's really interesting that this is also a multicultural film, including a lot of ethnicities and cultures, Filipinos, Americans, and everything. So did you plan to have this like this, or it just happened by accident?
Well, I've always tried to do that, whether you look back on Independence Day, which was the first time that a Black guy and a Jewish guy saved the world. I always try to have more representation, but, especially with Filipinos, it's interesting that we're in a time where diversity is a very important thing in filmmaking, and yet Filipinos are still wildly underrepresented. So again, this idea that I could do this kind of science fiction film with an adult woman who was Filipino made it all the more special.
Mm-hmm. And this is also powered by a lot of women, directed by women, created by a woman, produced by women, and all this women power in the film. How exciting is that for you?
Well, I felt it was important. It's a mother-daughter story, and I am neither a mother nor a daughter. so I really I trusted these very talented people. Our director, Orshi, is, I've worked with her on our television show before, and she's just a terrific director. And I've watched my wife develop as a producer and as a writer and a director herself. So to see these very talented women again delve into a story that was personal for all of them, you get an insight that I could never bring. So it was just really wonderful to watch the unique perspective of these women tackling this kind of subject.
Mm-hmm. And can you talk about the casting also of Emma Fisher and Somali and Lisa, your wife?
Well, with Emma, it was a very tough casting, because we were looking in the UK, we were looking in the United States, we were looking in Canada, we were looking in Serbia, because in the story, she's Somali's daughter, but she's also the daughter of a British man. So we needed someone who had that mixed Asian flavor, but we also needed someone who could handle how difficult the role is. And when Emma came in and auditioned, we were all just blown away from the first audition. That she really understood the psychological depth of this character, and yet also was able to inject a lot of humor into the part.
Mm-hmm. And how was it filming also in, you didn't talk about Somali and Lisa on the casting thing?
Well, I both Lisa and Grace, we were looking to figure out where would they fit in best. And Lisa immediately gravitated to this rich woman who had her own reasons for wanting to escape. So it was great to watch her, and then Grace taking on the role of the news person on television. So it was a lot of fun getting them to be in the picture and to watch them, have fun with these characters and make them come to life.
And how was it filming in Serbia? Were you there?
I was there for a part of it. We've been in Serbia now for a few years. We did a TV series there called The Outpost, and we just most recently did a series there called The Ark. So we're very familiar with the talent there and the crews there. But, mostly, frankly, it was to be able to make this film without having to reduce the scope of it. Because when I first saw the script that Somali brought to me, I thought, well, this is a wonderful personal story in a script that's going to cost $20 million to make. And that's a very difficult thing financially to pull together and to make profitable. But when I brought the script to Serbia, suddenly we were able to do it within our budget and not have to reduce the size and the scope of what we wanted to show on screen. So I feel like we got an enormous amount of value. And when you see the film, it looks like a much bigger budget than what we were able to afford.
Mm-hmm. And what were the challenges you encountered while producing this film?
Well, as I said, it does have a large scale. So, there's a lot of effects that needed to be done. There were a lot of actors that we had to get from different parts to represent, whether they were Russian or Serbian or British or from the United States. So casting was unique. Bringing in Pearl, who had been in Doctor Who, we felt that was like a really great get for us to get her in. But again, we have to work within everyone's schedules and their times. So it was a lot of coordinating to try and make a film that, for the audience, felt like a much bigger budget film, and yet be able to do it within the time restraints and the financial restraints we had.
And you were in the Philippines, you mentioned recently. Can you talk about this taping for the second season of Almost Paradise in Cebu?
Yeah, so I've just come back from 3.5 months in Cebu, and we're in the middle of shooting the second season, and it's just spectacular. And in fact, we have a GMA star in our show this year, Max Collins.
Huh.
We've got a terrific cast. All the favorites have returned from season 1, and then there's some new additions, and now, this time we're doing it for Amazon Freevee, so we're going to get a lot more support than we got the first time and a lot more publicity. The show has sold all over the world, and it's really a remarkable thing because I get a lot of DMs and emails and Twitter responses from Filipinos everywhere, and a lot of them are people just so grateful to get to see their home country in a scripted show. But I'll tell you, the interesting thing is I get a lot from Filipinos who are second generation, who have not ever spent time in the Philippines. Mm. And they say things to me like, oh, I had no idea there were such beautiful resorts. And I was like, are you kidding me? It's the most beautiful resorts in the world. And they didn't even know that because so much of the representation of the Philippines has just been poverty porn. So to be able to show other parts of the culture and how beautiful it is, and to see the response from Filipinos around the world and non-Filipinos, it's been so exciting. So it's a very rewarding show to get to make.
Mm-hmm. So did you do any R&R aside from just the work, or no chance in Cebu?
I've heard about this thing called rest, and one day I want to find out about it because it sounds like a great thing. But
no swimming with the whales.
No.
Okay.